Today I just want to go over some more tips about how to read with ADHD. I've got a few things here that I haven't mentioned in my previous video about this, and I think that it would probably be quite helpful to include it. So anyway, say you have something to study. You've got textbook, a big thick textbook to read. It'll be very hard to get through it and stick to it. One thing you're going to need is something to keep you on track with the lines. So the first thing I recommend is you can either use a ruler, and you can put it underneath each line like this, and as you read each sentence you go down, you go down, you go down, and that way you can stay on track. Because I know oftentimes when I'm reading, sometimes I'll look at the text and I'll lose my place just simply because my mind's wandered. But if I have something visual to keep me there, I'm not going to lose track of where I was. And that's part of the issue with the wandering mind, is your brain will wander off and you won't be able to remember exactly where you are, and it can be pretty frustrating trying to get back to that place that you were at, right? So I think this could help. Either a ruler, or you could use a simple bookmark on the same thing. In fact, I would actually say a bookmark is better because you can use it for the purpose of keeping where you were at. Say like if you want to take a break from reading, which I highly recommend, because people with ADHD are better off doing things in small chunks than burning out. But obviously if you're hyper-focusing, you can probably read for quite a long time. If you're on medication, it can really help. So yeah, it all depends on what your style is, but I find it's really useful to do that. And get yourself some earplugs like this. These are silicone earplugs, and you can take them out and mold them to the shape of your ear, so that way no sound can get in. And I find these are better than the foam ones that you see, because the foam ones, they don't really do much, they don't block out sound. So I think with something like these, they are much more reliable. And some of these you can get that are antimicrobial, so they're sort of antibacterial. They won't build up too many germs, and as long as you keep them in the case, you'll keep them relatively clean. So very handy to block out the surrounding sounds, especially if you're in a public library or something like that. And one final tip is I highly recommend you get some noise cancelling headphones. Now, I've got a pair of Bose Quiet Comforts. They're pretty expensive, to be honest, but they're well worth the money. It's probably one of the best investments I've ever made. They've got these noise cancelling abilities. You can adjust the volume, and it pretty much blocks everything out when you're studying. If you're sitting down, it literally takes away all the external distractive sounds. So I mean, I think they're a good investment. So you don't have to get such a luxury set like these. I mean, there are cheaper alternatives, but I definitely recommend them, especially if you're struggling to find peace and quiet. I mean, you can combine the two. Sometimes I've had these earplugs in and these on top, but I've actually found that I like to listen to relaxation music or lo-fi beats, things like that, binaural beats. That's really good, and because certain types of music can really sort of relax the mind, and I think it depends on what your preference is, so it's all up to you. So good investment, and it's pretty simple, guys. These are very basic tips, so I'd just say try and incorporate them into your study life, or even if you just like to read something and you can't because your mind's distracted, it can be very useful for that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.